Everyone laughed as she begged, but one human whispered, "You are safe now." Lyra trembled as the crowd pushed her toward the pit. She had never been in a place like this before. The air was thick with smoke and voices. Aliens of all shapes and sizes crowded around, leaning over railings, pointing, laughing, and shouting. Some had long arms with claws, some had wings, some had eyes that glowed in the dark. They all stared at her as if she were a toy meant to break. She tried to pull away, but the guards grabbed her arms. Their grip was strong, cold, and unfeeling. She had begged them to let her go, explaining that she had not done anything wrong. Her voice shook. She hoped someone would understand, but no one cared. The crowd only laughed louder. Her pleas sounded like whispers against the roar of their amusement. Lyra's legs trembled as she reached the edge of the pit. She looked down. It was deep, darker than she had imagined. The bottom was covered in strange stones that glimmered like glass. She had no idea what would happen if she fell. The guards pushed her slightly and she stumbled, catching herself just in time. "Please," she cried. "I did not mean to. Please, I beg you, I will do anything." The laughter grew. Lyra's heart sank. She had never felt such fear. It was not just fear for her body, it was fear for her life. She thought about her family, far away on her home planet. She thought about the village where she grew up, the quiet river that ran through it, the soft green grass under her feet. None of that mattered here. No one cared. In the crowd, voices shouted different things. Some called her names, some made cruel jokes. One alien even threw a small stone that bounced off the edge of the pit near her feet. She flinched. The laughter became louder. She wanted to hide, to disappear, but there was nowhere to go. Farther back in the crowd, a human watched quietly. He was different from the aliens around him. His name was Jack Morris. He had come to the station to repair some systems, not to witness this spectacle. His hands were clean from grease and oil, not from cruelty. Jack had seen many things in his life, but nothing like this. He felt a tightness in his chest. He did not want to be here, and yet he could not look away. He could feel Lyra's fear from where he stood. He could feel the way the crowd's laughter pierced her like sharp knives. He noticed the guards, how they smiled without guilt, how they treated her like she was nothing. Jack had learned something important about humans long ago. Humans were not perfect. They had done cruel things in the past. Wars, punishments, and cruelty were part of their history. But they also had the capacity to protect, to care, to act when someone was in danger. Jack understood that this was one of those moments. He stepped forward, closer to the pit, ignoring the whispers from the crowd about humans being soft. His voice was quiet, almost a whisper itself. "You are safe now," he said. Lyra froze. She did not understand. She had never heard a voice like that before. The calmness, the softness, it felt strange. She wanted to believe it, but her body would not obey. She was shaking, her legs wobbling, her eyes wide. The laughter continued. She turned to look at the human. Jack knelt slightly, keeping his eyes on her. He did not shout, he did not make threats. He only let her see that he was there, that he cared, that she was not alone. The guards laughed at him. They thought he was foolish. "What do you think you can do?" one of them shouted. "This is not your fight, human." Jack did not respond. He only stayed there, keeping his hands at his sides. He did not make a move, but his presence was enough. Lyra could feel it. A tiny spark of hope flickered inside her chest. The crowd grew restless. Some whispered among themselves. They had never seen a human act like this. Humans were small, fragile, soft. They were not fighters. They were not soldiers. And yet here he was, standing in front of her, refusing to look away, refusing to leave. Lyra could not speak. Her throat was dry. She only stared. The guards moved closer, their expressions hard and cold. The crowd laughed even louder, thinking this was only for fun. But Jack did not move. He simply whispered again, "You are safe now." Something changed in Lyra's mind. The fear did not vanish, but it became sharper. She realized that maybe, just maybe, she could survive this. Maybe someone could stand up for her. Maybe someone would not let the laughter decide her fate. The guards were confused. They had never seen a human behave like this. Usually, humans ran away, hid, or begged to leave. This one did none of those things. He stayed. He faced them without anger, without weapons, without pride. Just a calm, quiet presence that made them unsure. Jack had no idea if he could truly stop them. He did not know the law here, or if the law even mattered. He only knew that Lyra's life was in his hands now. And he could not let the crowd decide. He could not let her fear become their game. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a universal translator. He held it carefully, showing it to Lyra so she would understand. "Do you hear me?" he asked softly. Lyra nodded, tears streaming down her face. She could not speak. She wanted to, but the lump in her throat would not allow it. The whisper of the human felt like a lifeline, a rope thrown into a stormy sea. The guards noticed the device. They laughed again, thinking it was a toy. "What is that? A trick?" one said, but Jack ignored them. He focused on Lyra. He moved closer to the edge, careful not to fall in himself. "Take my hand," he said. "You are safe now." Lyra hesitated. Fear clawed at her mind. She had been taught to trust no one in this place, but she saw something in Jack's eyes, something steady, something unwavering. She reached out slowly, her hand trembling. When she touched his, she felt a small warmth, a strength she had never known. The guards shouted, tried to grab her back, but Jack's calmness spread into the crowd. Some aliens stepped back, unsure why the human was not afraid. Others continued to laugh, but their voices sounded less certain. Jack whispered again, "You are safe now. I will not let them hurt you." Lyra's knees buckled. She could not believe it. The words were simple, but they carried a power she could feel. In that moment, she stopped trembling. Not completely, but enough to stand a little taller, enough to hold on to hope. The crowd's laughter continued, but it was no longer the only sound. Jack's whisper cut through it like a soft knife. It made some aliens pause, made them feel uncomfortable for the first time. They had never experienced care like this. They had never seen someone choose protection over fear. Lyra took a deep breath. She knew nothing about this human. She did not know why he helped her or what it would cost him. She only knew that for the first time since arriving here, she did not feel completely alone. Jack held her hand gently. "We will leave this place," he said. "You do not need to be afraid anymore." She looked into his eyes. They were kind, calm, and honest. She wanted to trust him, and she decided to try. Slowly, she nodded. The guards were shouting. The crowd was confused, but Jack stayed still, firm, unafraid. And Lyra realized that sometimes courage was quiet. Sometimes it did not roar or shout. Sometimes it was a whisper. The first step was the hardest, but together they took it. And in that moment, the laughter felt smaller. Jack guided Lyra through the crowded station corridors, keeping his hand on hers to steady her. She stumbled a few times on the uneven floors, and each time he caught her. The laughter of the crowd still echoed in her mind. Every sound made her flinch, every shadow made her pause. She wanted to run, to hide, but she could not leave the human who had saved her. The hallways smelled of oil and metal, mixed with strange alien spices. Lyra tried to breathe slowly, but her chest tightened with fear. Jack spoke softly. "You do not need to hurry. We have time. Nothing can hurt you now." She looked at him. His face was calm. His hands were steady. She wanted to believe him, but the fear in her stomach burned like fire. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Her voice was small, almost trembling. Jack smiled faintly. "Because I can, because it is the right thing. Sometimes the right thing is not easy. Sometimes no one else will do it. That is why I am here." Lyra wanted to nod, but she could not. She only followed him, her small hand in his larger one. Every step felt like a step into another world. A world where humans were not cruel. A world where someone could care. They reached a side exit that led to a small docking bay. A human ship waited there, painted in plain gray with simple markings. Its engines hummed softly, a sound that was almost soothing. Lyra had never seen a ship like this before. It looked ordinary but safe. "Get inside," Jack said gently. "It will be all right." Lyra hesitated. She looked back toward the station. The pit, the guards, the laughing crowd, it all seemed like a nightmare she could not wake from. But the human ship looked like a haven. She stepped inside, slowly, carefully, as if crossing a fragile bridge. The interior of the ship was warm and quiet. The walls were smooth, the lights soft. Lyra could hear the faint hum of the engines and nothing else. She sat on a bench, hugging her knees. Her body shook and tears ran down her face. Jack knelt beside her. "You are safe now," he repeated. "No one can hurt you here, not while I am with you." She looked up at him. For the first time in her life, she felt that someone truly meant it. The words were simple, but they carried weight. She wanted to believe him, and slowly she did. Jack stood and walked to the controls. He pressed a few buttons and the ship lifted off. Lyra felt a strange sensation as the station grew smaller beneath them. The laughter faded behind her, replaced by the soft hum of the engines. She realized she had not noticed the engines before, and the sound made her feel safe, almost like a heartbeat. "Where are we going?" she asked softly. "Somewhere quiet," Jack replied. "Somewhere you can rest and heal. We will talk when you are ready." The ship moved through space, passing glowing asteroids and distant stars. Lyra watched them, but she could not take her eyes off Jack. She had never trusted anyone like this before. Even her own family had not been able to protect her from everything. But here, with this human, she felt a small spark of hope. After several hours, the ship landed on a calm planet. The surface was covered with soft green plants and gentle streams. The sky was a pale blue, and the air smelled fresh. Lyra stepped out carefully, feeling the soft grass beneath her feet. She had never felt grass like this before. It felt like silk under her feet, soft and kind. Jack guided her into a small building nearby. Inside, there were beds, clean water, and food. A human woman named Lisa Brown waited there. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. "Hello, Lyra," she said. "You are safe here. We will take care of you." Lyra looked at her, unsure what to say. She had never met a human woman like this. She had heard stories of humans being cruel, but these humans were different. They cared. They helped. They did not mock her fear. Lisa gave her food and water. Lyra ate slowly, tasting flavors she had never experienced before. The food was simple but nourishing. She realized she had not eaten properly in days. The warmth of the meal filled her stomach and made her feel a little stronger. Jack sat across from her. "You do not need to be afraid," he said. "We will not let anyone hurt you again." Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. She wanted to speak, to say something, but the words would not come. She only listened, only felt the warmth of these humans who did not laugh at her fear. Over the next few days, Lyra learned more about humans. Jack explained that humans had once been cruel too. They had fought wars, punished the weak, and sometimes laughed at others' pain. But they had changed. They had learned to protect, to care, to stand for those who could not stand for themselves. Lisa treated Lyra's wounds. She cleaned cuts and bruises and applied healing salves. Lyra flinched at first, but Lisa spoke softly, guiding her through each step. "It will not hurt," she said. "Trust me." For the first time, Lyra learned what it meant to trust. She allowed Lisa to help her. She allowed Jack to stand near her. She allowed herself to feel safe. Jack showed her how the ship worked. Lyra watched as he adjusted controls, checked readings, and monitored the systems. He explained things in simple words, and she began to understand. Humans were clever, but not in the way the aliens at the station thought. They were clever in their care. They thought ahead, they protected, they made sure no one was left behind. Lyra began to feel something she had never felt before. It was small, fragile, but real. Hope. She dared to imagine a life where she could be free, where she could walk without fear, where she could laugh without shame. But the fear had not disappeared completely. Lyra knew the galaxy was still dangerous. She knew some aliens would never forgive the human who had saved her. She worried about what might come next. Jack noticed her fear. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "We will face whatever comes together," he said. "No one can take away your safety now, not while we are here." Lyra nodded. She began to speak slowly, sharing her story. She told Jack about her village, her family, the way she had grown up. She told him about the fear, the laughter, the pit. Jack listened quietly, never interrupting, never judging. He only nodded, letting her know he understood. Days passed, and Lyra began to learn the ways of humans. She learned to eat properly, to sleep without fear, to speak her mind without trembling. Jack taught her simple exercises to build her strength. Lisa taught her about human kindness, patience, and care. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt she belonged somewhere. She belonged not because of her strength or skill, but because someone had chosen to protect her. The whisper she had heard at the pit echoed in her mind. "You are safe now." It was not just words. It was a promise. One evening, Lyra sat by a window watching the stars. The station, the pit, the laughter, it all seemed distant now. She thought about the humans who had saved her. She thought about the courage it took to stand against the crowd, to risk themselves for someone else. She realized that this was something special, something she had never experienced before. Jack joined her. "The galaxy can be cruel," he said, "but it does not have to be. We can make it better, one choice at a time." Lyra looked at him and nodded. She felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of safety she had never known. She understood that courage was not about fighting or winning. It was about standing for someone when no one else would. That night, Lyra slept without fear for the first time. The hum of the engines, the gentle lights of the ship, and the warmth of human care surrounded her. She dreamed not of the pit, not of laughter, not of cruelty. She dreamed of safety, trust, and hope. When she woke, she felt stronger. She knew that the journey ahead would not be easy. The galaxy was still full of danger, and not everyone would understand. But she also knew that she was not alone. Humans could be small, fragile, soft, but they could also be brave, kind, and steadfast. And with them, she could face what was coming. Lyra had started to feel a small sense of normalcy on the human ship. She walked without fear, ate without hesitation, and even laughed quietly when Jack or Lisa made small jokes. But that calm was fragile. The galaxy was watching. Word had spread about a human interfering in the punishment pit, and many species were not pleased. Jack knew this. He had seen the messages flickering on the ship's communication screens. Alien leaders were demanding that Lyra be returned. They called her stolen property, or the weak one who was saved by a fool. Their words were sharp, full of anger and disbelief. Humans were supposed to stay out of their affairs. They were supposed to be small, weak, and unimportant. And yet, here was one standing for someone else. Jack turned from the screen and looked at Lyra. She was sitting quietly, her hands folded in her lap. He could see that she had sensed the tension too. He knelt beside her. "They will try to take you back," he said, "but we will not let them. We are ready." Lyra nodded. Fear returned, but it was different now. It was not helpless. She had humans who would fight for her, in their own way. She understood that being safe did not mean there would be no danger. It meant someone would stand between her and it. Lisa joined them, holding a small device that projected messages from the alien leaders. "They are serious," she said. "Some of these species do not understand mercy. They think protection is weakness, but humans are different. We do not leave someone behind." Lyra looked at them both. She felt a strange warmth in her chest. She realized that humans had something that many other species lacked. They could care without conditions. They could protect without pride. They could be strong quietly, without weapons, without anger. The human crew began preparing for what might come. They checked the ship's defenses, made small adjustments to shields and engines, and ran simulations of escape routes. Lyra watched them, amazed. She had never seen beings act so calmly under pressure. Aliens in her world would have panicked, shouted, or attacked. Humans planned. They thought ahead, they protected. Days passed. Lyra spent her time learning more about human ways. Jack taught her about the ship, its engines, and simple navigation. He explained things slowly, step by step, and she began to understand. Lisa continued to care for her injuries and even taught her how to rest without fear. One morning, the ship received a message from the trade station. The aliens demanded Lyra's return, threatening retaliation if she was not handed over. The humans read it carefully. They did not panic, they did not laugh, they only prepared. Jack turned to Lyra. "Do you understand what this means?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "They want me back," she said. Her voice was steady. "They will not stop until they get me." Jack placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Then we will make sure they do not take you. You are safe, and I will not let anyone change that." The next day, the human ship returned to the orbit near the station. This time, they did not hide. They broadcast messages across the communication network. Jack's voice was calm but firm. He explained that Lyra had been saved because she was in danger, not because she was weak. He spoke of human values: protection, mercy, courage, and care. The alien leaders were shocked. They had never heard a human speak like this. They were used to humans being small, weak, and self-interested. They had laughed at them, dismissed them, and underestimated them. Now they had to listen. Lyra felt nervous as she watched the screen. She could see the alien judges staring at Jack, their expressions unreadable. She knew some of them wanted to punish him for interfering. She knew some wanted to take her back immediately, but she also saw hesitation. For the first time, the power of a human voice was making them unsure. Jack spoke again. "We do not seek war. We do not seek revenge. We only seek to protect someone who cannot protect herself. That is not weakness. That is courage. That is humanity." A silence followed. The crowd that had gathered in the station to watch laughed at first, but then the laughter died. They were not used to hearing words that mattered more than fear or ridicule. Some humans joined Jack in the broadcast. Amy Turner and Daniel Ross, two crew members, stood beside him. They did not speak much, but their presence showed solidarity. Lyra realized that humans could act as one, without pride, without cruelty, without fear. The alien leaders called for a hearing. They wanted to decide what to do with Lyra. They argued that humans had no right to interfere. They claimed that she must return to the pit. Jack prepared for the hearing. Lyra sat beside him. She was no longer trembling as she had in the pit. She had learned that being brave did not mean being fearless. It meant standing for someone else, even when the crowd laughed. The hearing was held on a massive stage in the station. The pit was closed, but the crowd had returned, curious to see the humans face the judges. Lyra stood quietly, holding Jack's hand. She could feel his strength, his calm, and it gave her courage. The judges began speaking, mocking the humans and questioning their authority. They asked why one alien life should matter to outsiders. They said humans were small, weak, and inexperienced. Jack listened carefully. He did not raise his voice. He did not shout. He waited. Then, when the moment was right, he spoke. "You may think humans are weak," he said. "You may think we cannot protect, but you are wrong. We have learned the value of care. We have learned the power of protection. We have learned that courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and persistent. We stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. That is our strength." Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had never heard words like this spoken on her world. She saw the judges pause, unsure of how to respond. The crowd murmured. The laughter had stopped. For the first time, humans were not laughed at. Humans were respected. One judge sneered. "Words are not enough. Actions matter. Will you protect her when the galaxy tests you?" Jack nodded. "Yes, always. We do not seek glory or reward. We seek only to do what is right." Lyra looked at him and felt hope swell in her chest. She had never imagined that humans could be so strong without weapons, without pride, without anger. They did not need to fight to show courage. Their courage was in their care. The hearing continued. Lyra was asked to speak. Her voice shook at first, but she spoke clearly. These humans saved me. They did not laugh. They did not hurt me. They treated me as if I mattered. That is why I am here, and that is why I am safe." The judges were silent. The crowd was silent. Even some aliens whispered among themselves. They had never heard anyone speak like this. They had never seen someone saved without weapons, without anger, without fear. Jack placed a hand on Lyra's back, reassuring her. She felt the warmth, the steady presence, and her fear melted further. She realized that she had changed. She was no longer the trembling alien in the pit. She was someone who had been protected, someone who had learned to trust, someone who had hope. The judges did not know what to do. They argued among themselves, confused by the power of words, the strength of care, and the quiet courage of humans. They had expected fear, submission, and weakness. Instead, they found respect, trust, and courage. The hearing ended with no clear decision. Lyra would remain with the humans for now. The judges retreated, unsure how to handle the situation. The crowd slowly dispersed, murmuring and whispering. The laughter was gone. For the first time, humans were not mocked. They were seen as something different, something strong in a way the galaxy had not expected. Lyra looked at Jack. "They will come again," she said quietly. Jack nodded. "Yes, but we are ready. We have learned, and we will face them together." That night the ship moved away from the station. Lyra looked out the window at the stars. She thought about the pit, the laughter, and the fear she had felt. And she thought about the humans who had saved her. She realized that safety was not just a place. It was not just walls, food, or rest. Safety was someone standing for you when the world wanted to see you fall. Safety was someone willing to risk themselves for another. She had found that safety in Jack and Lisa, and in the humans who stood with them. And she knew, for the first time, that courage could come quietly, without anger, without weapons, without mockery. The galaxy had noticed. The humans had shown strength the aliens did not understand. Lyra smiled softly. She was safe, and for the first time she believed it would stay that way. Lyra woke early, the soft hum of the ship engines filling her ears. The galaxy outside was quiet, but she could feel tension in the air. Jack moved among the crew, checking systems, speaking quietly to Lisa and the others. Lyra watched him from the corner, trying to understand how humans stayed calm even when danger was near. "Are they coming for me?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack paused and knelt beside her. "Some will try," he said gently. "Some will never forget that we saved you, but we are ready. We have a plan." Lyra nodded. She had learned to trust him, and she believed in his calmness, even if fear still lingered in her chest. She had faced laughter and cruelty before, but never with humans ready to stand by her side. The day passed quietly at first. The crew went about their work, checking shields, testing engines, and scanning nearby space for any signs of trouble. Lyra followed Jack, helping where she could. He explained things slowly, showing her how the ship's sensors worked, how the engines could move quickly in emergencies, and how small adjustments could make the ship invisible to some scanners. As the sun rose on a distant planet below, a warning alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. Lyra jumped back, her hands pressed to her chest. Jack moved instantly, calm but fast. "Everyone, prepare for possible boarding," he said. "We do not panic. Stay ready, stay close." Lyra followed him to the control room. Her stomach twisted in fear, but she did not run. She had learned that fear could be faced when someone strong was near. She could feel Jack's presence steadying her. The screens showed small ships approaching quickly. They were alien vessels, unfamiliar but clearly hostile. Lyra gasped. "They're coming for me," she whispered. Jack put a hand on her shoulder. "And we will protect you," he said firmly. "Remember, courage is not just fighting. It is standing for someone else. That is what humans do. That is what we will do for you." The first of the alien ships moved closer. They fired a warning shot that barely missed the human ship. The crew moved with precision. Shields activated, engines adjusted, and small automated drones deployed to block the incoming attack. Lyra watched in awe. Humans did not panic. They acted with strategy, patience, and care. The aliens tried to board the ship, sending small craft toward the hull. Jack gave orders calmly, directing the crew. Drones intercept from the left. Shields hold steady. Keep the entrances clear. Lyra saw the drones push the alien crafts back. Sparks flew in space as metal clashed. Some aliens tried to force open the hull doors, but human security measures held them back. The crew moved together, each member knowing their role. Lyra realized that humans were brave, not because of weapons or strength, but because of planning, courage, and the will to protect each other. One alien ship broke through a shield in one small section. Jack moved quickly. "Lisa, seal the corridor. Lyra, stay behind me." The human crew worked in perfect coordination. Lyra watched Jack's calmness, his focus. He did not shout. He did not panic. He simply moved to shield her, moving with purpose, speaking quietly. "Stay close. You are safe now. Nothing can hurt you." Lyra clung to his words. They were like armor, stronger than any shield. She realized she understood what humans meant when they spoke of courage. It was not just facing danger. It was standing steady, thinking clearly, and protecting someone who could not protect themselves. The aliens tried again, moving faster and more aggressively. But the humans were prepared. They used drones to push them back, shields to block attacks, and careful maneuvers to evade the enemy ships. Lyra could feel her heart pounding, but she did not scream. She stayed near Jack, watching, learning, and slowly feeling a new kind of strength inside her. One alien ship made it closer to the human crew. Lyra could see small boarding tubes preparing to open. Jack grabbed her hand. "Now stay calm, trust us. This is why we are here." The boarding tubes opened, but humans were ready. Automated locks sealed the doors, preventing the aliens from entering. Crew members operated defense systems with precision, guiding Lyra and the others to safety. Lyra realized that humans had thought of every possibility. Their bravery was not loud or wild. It was careful, steady, and unyielding. As the attack continued, Lyra saw other humans acting without fear. Amy Turner and Daniel Ross moved quickly, protecting equipment, guiding crew members, and making sure no one was left behind. Lisa stayed near Lyra, speaking softly to keep her calm. "You are safe, see. We are here. We will not let them touch you." The aliens fired weapons that could have torn through the ship, but humans adjusted shields, dodged, and countered without chaos. Lyra was amazed. They were small compared to the enemy ships, yet they held their ground. It was not physical strength alone. It was intelligence, courage, and the determination to protect someone else. Hours passed. The aliens finally retreated, unable to breach the human ship's defenses. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. Lyra sank into a chair, exhausted, her body shaking from adrenaline. Jack knelt beside her, still calm. "You see," he said softly, "courage is not about fighting alone. It is about standing together. We will always protect those who cannot protect themselves." Lyra looked at him, tears in her eyes. She had never felt so safe in her life. Not because the danger was gone, but because someone had risked everything for her. She understood that humans could be small and fragile, but their courage could be greater than anyone's strength. Over the next few days, the human ship moved to a quieter part of space. Lyra rested, healed, and reflected on the attack. She realized that safety was not a place but an action. It was someone standing for you, ready to face danger on your behalf. Humans had shown her this. They had risked themselves without pride, without anger, without desire for reward. They had simply chosen to protect. Jack continued teaching her about human life. He showed her how to repair minor systems, how to navigate the ship, and how humans communicated to solve problems. Lyra learned quickly, feeling a sense of belonging she had never known. She was not just a refugee or someone saved. She was part of a team, part of a family, and most importantly, she was safe. Lisa helped her adjust emotionally. They spoke of fear, trust, and hope. Lyra admitted that she had never thought she could feel hope again. Lisa smiled. "Humans can be strange," she said gently. "We can be small, weak, and fragile, but when it matters, we can be strong. We protect, we care, and sometimes that is all it takes." Lyra smiled faintly. She understood now. She did not need to fight alone. She did not need to laugh to survive. She only needed to trust those who had chosen to protect her. One evening, the ship received another message from distant space. It was not an attack, but a warning. The aliens were regrouping, sending scouts to find them. Jack read the message carefully. "They will come again," he said quietly, "but we are ready, we have learned, and we will face them together." Lyra looked out at the stars. The galaxy was still full of danger, but she no longer felt helpless. She had humans who would stand for her. She had learned courage from them. She had seen that laughter and fear could be challenged by calm and care. The days passed, and Lyra grew stronger. She trained alongside Jack, learned alongside Lisa, and observed the crew with quiet admiration. She understood that humans were not perfect. They had weaknesses and fears. But when it mattered, they could be brave in ways that no one expected. One night, Lyra knelt by the window, watching distant planets. She thought of the pit, the laughter, and the fear she had endured. And she thought of the humans who had saved her. They had risked themselves without pride, without anger, without mockery. They had chosen to protect. She whispered to herself, a small smile forming. "I am safe now." Jack entered the room quietly. He knelt beside her. "You are," he said, "and we will make sure you stay safe, no matter what comes." For the first time in her life, Lyra believed it. She believed that courage was not weapons, not strength, not loudness. Courage could be quiet. Courage could be care. Courage could be standing steady while others laughed. And in that quiet courage, she found her own strength. The galaxy had not forgotten the human ship or the alien it had protected. Word spread quickly through stations and colonies. Some admired the courage of humans. Others whispered with anger, saying that one small alien's life should not have caused such defiance. But Jack and his crew knew they could not stop the whispers, nor did they need to. They only needed to keep Lyra safe. Lyra had grown stronger in the weeks since the first attack. She walked freely through the ship, learned to repair minor systems, and helped the crew with small tasks. She no longer trembled at sudden sounds. She no longer flinched at shadows. Most importantly, she no longer doubted that someone could truly care for her. One morning, alarms rang again. Lyra felt a tight knot in her stomach. Jack moved quickly, scanning the displays. "This is not a test," he said quietly. "They are coming back, larger this time." Lyra gripped his hand. "What do we do?" she asked. Her voice was steady, though her heart raced. Jack nodded to the crew. "We follow the plan. Everyone knows their role. We protect her. That is our priority. Nothing else matters." The human ship moved swiftly, dodging toward a nearby asteroid field. The alien ships followed, firing weapons, trying to force the humans out of hiding. Lyra watched the stars streak past as the crew worked together. She had never seen beings act so calmly under pressure. Each movement was precise, each order clear. Amy Turner and Daniel Ross managed shields and drones. Lisa stayed near Lyra, keeping her calm. Jack moved through the ship, coordinating the crew, giving instructions and watching the enemy carefully. Lyra could feel the tension, but she also felt the safety. Humans were strong in ways that no alien had expected. One alien ship broke through the asteroid cover, aiming directly for Lyra's section of the ship. Jack grabbed her hand. "Stay behind me, trust us. You are safe now." The ship shook as weapons hit the hull, but the shields held. Humans acted without panic, without anger. They used strategy, planning, and calm courage to protect Lyra. She felt a strange warmth in her chest. This was what safety truly meant, not absence of danger, but someone standing between you and it. The aliens tried again, sending small boarding tubes. Lyra held Jack's hand tightly. She saw the tubes open, but the doors were locked, drones ready to push them back. The aliens were clever, fast, and relentless, but humans were smarter. They were not just defending, they were thinking ahead, predicting movements and protecting life. Hours passed. Lyra realized she was not afraid in the same way as before. She still felt fear, but it was different. She knew that humans would act to keep her safe, and that gave her strength. She realized that courage was not about fighting alone. It was about standing with someone else, protecting them when they could not protect themselves. Jack moved to the control panel and activated a hidden cloaking mechanism. The human ship vanished from most sensors, slipping through the asteroid field unseen. The aliens fired blindly, missing by meters, their frustration growing. Lyra watched, amazed at the ingenuity of the humans. Their courage was quiet, clever, and relentless. Lisa spoke softly beside Lyra. "See, we protect without glory. We do not need to fight with anger. We think, we plan, we save." Lyra nodded. She understood now. She had never known that courage could be so calm, so patient, so deliberate. She had always thought courage was loud and visible, but humans showed her that true courage could be quiet, steady, and protective. The aliens retreated again, unable to catch the human ship. Jack kept the crew alert, moving carefully through space. He checked on Lyra frequently. Each time she saw his calm face, she felt a wave of relief wash over her. After several days of careful travel, they reached a quiet system. Jack found a small planet with a safe orbit. He landed the ship gently on a green plain, surrounded by soft streams and trees that swayed in the wind. Lyra stepped out onto solid ground, feeling the grass beneath her feet. She breathed deeply, feeling the first real sense of freedom. Lisa handed her water and simple food. Lyra ate slowly, savoring the flavors, and realized how much she had missed basic care. She looked around at the humans who had protected her. She wanted to say something, but words felt small compared to everything they had done. Jack knelt beside her. "You see," he said quietly, "courage is not about weapons. It is not about anger or pride. It is about standing for someone else. That is what we did for you, and we will keep doing it." Lyra felt tears welling up in her eyes. She had never been treated like this. Never before had someone risked everything simply to protect her life. She realized that laughter and cruelty could be defeated, not by violence, but by quiet courage and care. Over the next weeks, Lyra learned more about human life. She helped repair the ship, learned communication techniques, and practiced small exercises to strengthen herself. She discovered that humans were clever, patient, and brave in ways that no alien had imagined. They did not act for fame or fear. They acted because it was right. One evening, as the sun set over the planet, Lyra sat with Jack, Lisa, Amy, and Daniel. The sky was pink and gold, the streams reflecting the light. She looked at them and felt a warmth in her chest. "You saved me," she said quietly. "You kept me alive when everyone else laughed at me." Jack shook his head gently. "We did not save you because you begged. We saved you because it was right. That is what humans do. We stand for those who cannot stand for themselves." Lyra smiled softly. She had learned that safety was not a place. It was not just food, walls, or a ship. Safety was someone standing for you when danger comes. Humans had shown her that, and she would never forget it. Days passed, and the humans worked to prepare the ship for travel again. Lyra joined them willingly, moving with purpose, learning and helping. She realized she was no longer the frightened alien from the pit. She was someone who had seen courage, someone who had been protected, someone who could now understand what it meant to stand with others. Then one morning, a scout ship appeared in orbit above the planet. Lyra felt her stomach tighten. The aliens had not given up, but this time she did not panic. She had humans who would stand with her, and she had learned courage herself. Jack smiled gently at her. "Remember, Lyra, courage is not about fear. Courage is standing for someone else, even when others laugh or mock. We are ready." The aliens tried to attack, but humans acted quickly. The scout ship was pushed away by drones, shields held steady, and the crew moved with precision. Lyra watched the humans work together, thinking, planning, protecting. She realized that true strength was not size, weapons, or pride. True strength was care, strategy, and courage. After the attack, the humans prepared a message. Jack spoke clearly, projecting across space. "We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. We will stand against cruelty. We do not seek war, but we do not flee from danger. You may try, but you will not break our promise." The aliens hesitated. They had not expected humans to speak this way. They had not expected humans to act without pride, without anger, and without seeking revenge. They had underestimated the quiet courage that humans could show. Lyra looked at Jack. "I understand now," she said softly. "You are brave not because of weapons, but because of care." Jack smiled. "Exactly. That is what makes us human. We are small, fragile, and soft. But when it matters, we are strong. And we will protect those who cannot protect themselves." The galaxy began to change slowly. Stories spread of humans who saved one alien, protected life without pride, and stood firm while others laughed. Other species began to question their cruelty. They began to see that courage could come quietly, and that protection was stronger than mockery. Lyra stayed with the humans. She helped them, learned from them, and shared her own knowledge of the galaxy. She no longer feared the future. She had seen courage, she had been protected, and she had learned what it meant to be safe. One evening, Lyra knelt by the window of the ship, looking out at distant stars. She thought of the pit, the laughter, and the fear she had endured. Then she thought of the humans who had stood for her, who had risked everything without pride or anger, just to protect her. She whispered softly to herself, smiling, "I am safe now." Jack entered the room quietly and knelt beside her. "You are," he said gently, "and we will make sure you stay safe, no matter what comes." For the first time in her life, Lyra felt completely at peace. The galaxy was still full of danger, but she knew she would never face it alone. Humans could be small, fragile, and soft, but they could also be brave, kind, and steadfast. And they had shown her the true meaning of courage. As the ship moved through the stars, carrying humans and aliens together, Lyra understood something she had never known. Courage and care could change the galaxy. One quiet act could make laughter stop, fear fade, and hope grow. One whisper, one choice, one promise could save a life. "You are safe now," she whispered back, remembering the first time she heard the words. She smiled, knowing that she would carry that safety and that courage wherever she went. And this time no one laughed.